Hello and welcome to Focus with Renee. Today we want to talk about boardrooms, specifically the composition of boardrooms, and why it seems to be necessary that boardrooms should have 30% at least comprised of women. We're speaking with James Ngomeli, the chairman of the Chartered Institute of Marketing. Hello, James.
Morning.
Well, let's start right from the beginning. Why has it become important for there to be more women in the boardroom?
Good to be on your show. I think one of the most important reasons is the population. Especially, let's look at the Kenyan situation. We have more than half of the population is women. And when you go up the board levels, when you go up, there is attrition, and you find that where the board makes a decision, you find very little representation of women on boards. It has come now on light, the girl-child education, all these programs to enhance women empowerment. They are coming to fruition, and it's important now. Women now are clamoring for the top positions, not just the issue of empowerment, and yet you don't see it at where the resources are allocated and decisions are made.
This seems a bit like more of affirmative action on the part of women, sort of opening up the last door that has not been opened to them. Do you think that this is affirmative action, or is there a business case for having women in the boardroom?
No, it's not an affirmative action. This is the way the business should be run. You can't leave out half of our population out of a decision making at the top. And we have seen in organizations that have diversity. We have looked at studies that have been done in US, McKinsey reports. They have given us that picture that boards that have diversity have seen growth in return on equity by 56%. We have seen boards that have diversity, return on capital by 46%. So there must be something that is happening, that should happen across in all boards in our country.
In fact, we've seen regions like the European Union have in legislation, or at least guidelines, that suggest that 40% of the composition of boards should be women. But also controversially, we've seen surveys that suggest that in fact there is very little or no impact where there are women in boardrooms. How would you react to a comment like that?
Let's look at an example of Norway. Norway has had a stable economy. It has been growing, and Norway can attribute the growth of the economy because of diversity. Women have been brought up to the center of the business of government. And you see that's one of the key reasons Norway is up there. And this is something that we want now to grow in Africa. Look at a country like Rwanda. Its corruption levels is the lowest in Africa. And half of the parliament is women. Look at Rwanda. It's the only country that has a cleanup on a weekend. I mean, that's a good reason. You see, somewhere where there is a diversity of thought, there is growth in all sectors. For example, our president was in Rwanda to see how the laptop program is working. And you could even see on the photos who is a chairman of all the project. There is a focus on diversity of thoughts that is leading Rwanda in that direction. So I think there is something great that diversity brings on the board. And this is what Chartered Institute of Marketing is trying to bring up.
Why has the Chartered Institute of Marketing felt that this is a cause that it needs to take up?
First of all, our profession has 75% women, and only 7% make it to the board level. Unlike the men, where over 23% make it to the board level. This is one of the key reasons that have made us start the 30% club. Look at look at also in the country, from experience from our members, they go up to the rank of general managers of these organizations. But from there, they just jump from another job, which they earn 100,000 more, 50,000 more, or go start a small company somewhere. But you find that when we have discussions with them, they have something they really want to offer more, but they feel they have reached the ceiling. So that's what led us to form a 30% club. We shopped around for organizations or countries that have done that kind of program. We picked UK and South Africa and Hong Kong, started that program. So we decided to start this program in Kenya. And we looked at the board level is where we want to put our interest, because at the board level is where decisions are made and resources are allocated at the board level.
Now, currently, as we shoot, you have already commissioned a survey whose results we're going to be seeing shortly around this. Now, tell us a little bit about the survey that you have launched and what it's seeking to find out.
The survey, yes, we have launched a survey. As a marketing profession, you can't speak without a strong research. We have had research on women on boards carried around the country. But this one we are carrying is about looking at what is the impact of diversity on the boards. What is the impact of women? What kind of decisions do they make in the board? Do they influence the board decisions? And composition of these boards, do we see different role in decision? Do we see different decisions when the boards have more women? So this is a study we want to look at the financial impact and look at what role do women play or in the board, and diversity in the board, what role do they play? So this research will bring out a lot about diversity on the board. This research, the objective of this research is to see what are the fundamental differences between the boards that have diversity and the boards without diversity. On the other hand, this research will also bring out the opportunities of training and mentorship to women and even men to attain the board level.
In fact, it's good that you mentioned mentorship. One of the advantages traditionally that men appear to have had, or so it has been argued, has been the ability to be mentored by men who are already in high positions, something which women have not been able to access as nearly. In fact, in a very controversial book, Lean In, Sheryl Sandberg argues that to that extent, women are disadvantaged and may, in fact, be their own worst enemies. Are you fighting a bit of a losing cause?
No, actually, no. This is not a losing cause. And we can see as the women get empowered, we are seeing them clamoring for those top positions. We are seeing opportunities opening up for women. But I must say that the society has forced them to work harder, twice as hard as a man, to reach in that position. But things are shaping up, the economies are shaping up, corruption issues are reducing, and it's opening, governance is improving, so it's opening a chance for women to go to the top. So what is missing is that kind of training, that kind of mentorship, to know what to do when they reach at the board level.
So let's zero in on the 30% Club in Kenya.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about how it unfolds and how people and organizations can plug into the 30% Club.
Okay. What we have done first is to conduct a research. The 30% Club, it will be mainly members of boards that have achieved the minimum threshold of 30%. Why did we put 30%? There's a constitutional requirement of 30%. And we have picked up also the firms in the stock exchange. We have realized that through the DEX research, they are nearly around less than 12% are in the board. So if we can have a jump in the next 2 years to 30%, then we'll be very happy. But what we are trying to get is board members who can come together and mentor upcoming board members. We also like also even individual members, even the women individual themselves and men who want to join the boards. How can they be mentored? How can we create an exchange of ideas and knowledge between the teams that are aspiring to join the board and the teams that are in the board? That is what we want to create, that rapport. Sometimes it's not in the books, it's about eye-to-eye contact.
That's a very lofty ambition and a very worthy goal. But how will you be able to measure your success? What are we looking at? You said in the next 2 years. How will you know, for example, in the next 2 years that you, as an organization, have made an impact?
Oh, first of all, the awareness that we are going to raise on the impact of women on boards. We will have a recognition award ceremony for the companies that have achieved the minimum threshold of 30%. And we'll also through research, and we'll also have companies, we'll also show the gap that the organizations that have diversity have managed to achieve and what needs to be done. This will create also room for entrepreneurs to come in and offer training to the gaps that we'll establish from the research. And as we continue, we'll continue recognizing the teams that achieve the 30%, and this will awaken also the women folks to realize that some farms are calling themselves coming up with women products, saying they are women aligned, but they don't give opportunities to the women at the board level.
Just by way of a final statement from the Chartered Institute of Marketing around this particular issue, the 30% club, what would you give as your parting shot?
My parting shot is that there is a big opportunity in this country if we can engage women to their full capability. One of the best competitive advantages a firm can have is to ensure that they can exploit the opportunities that they have in the organizations for women. And we have seen from research, I believe in Africa is a bit worse, that we only get 30 to 40% of the women capability in organization because of the constraints they achieve, and they are not looked at differently at all levels. And what the message I want to give is that diversity has benefits. And that is what I'm going to tell the country in the next 2 months with well-structured results from survey. And this survey, we have got financial analysts who are going to look at the stocks around the region, and even with the banks and the banks insurance firms that are forced to release the results in the stock exchange. In the stock, not even in the stock market, but they are forced to release the results by the government. So also as we are going to look at that. But I can assure the country that you can only grow, you can only get that competitive advantage if we bring the other half up to speed with the men.
Well, a very ambitious plan, and we're looking forward to speaking with you once again as soon as that survey is out, so that we can find out exactly what the results are, how well or otherwise we're doing as a nation, and also how we can work towards creating 30% of women representation in boardrooms in Kenya. James Ngomeli, thank you so much for speaking with Focus with Renee.
Thank you very much, Renee.
And thank you once again for joining us today. We'll see you next time.